There are games you play for fun, and then there are games that play with you. Tonight, we're going to talk about something that has destroyed lives across Asia. Something that seems innocent, harmless, just a game that teenagers play at sleepovers or graduation trips. But in Chinese culture, there's a saying, it's easy to invite spirits, but hard to send them away. What you're about to hear are two true stories. Two groups of students who thought they were just having fun. Two rituals that went horribly, catastrophically wrong. These aren't ghost stories. These are warnings. In the West, you have the Ouija board. In Asia, we have dip-sin and butt-sin. Dish spirit, pen spirit. They've been played for generations, passed down in schoolyards and whispered about in dormitories. The rules are simple. The consequences are not. Dip-sin involves a dish or saucer placed upside down on a piece of paper, marked with Chinese characters, numbers, and the words yes and no. Everyone places one finger on the dish. You ask questions. The dish moves. It spells out answers. But sin is similar, but uses a pen. Two people hold the same pen over a blank sheet of paper. You summon the spirit. You ask questions. The pen writes by itself. Both games follow the same principle. You are opening a door. You are inviting something from the other side to communicate with you. And once that door is open, closing it requires more than just saying goodbye. Our first story takes place in May 2017 in Taipei, Taiwan. A group of 6 high school students had just finished their final exams. They were celebrating. They booked a cheap hotel near Shimending, the shopping district. 3 boys, 3 girls, best friends since middle school. On their second night, one of the girls, let's call her May, suggested they play dip-sin. She had played it before at a sleepover, and nothing had happened. She thought it would be fun, a little thrill before they all went their separate ways to university. The others agreed. They were skeptical, but curious. They ordered late-night fried chicken and bubble tea, and around 1 a.m., they set up the game on the floor of the hotel room. They used a small ceramic dish from the hotel bathroom. They drew a circle on a large piece of paper with all the Chinese characters, numbers, and the words yes and no. The lights were turned off. Candles were lit. Everyone placed their index finger lightly on the dish. May spoke first. And dish spirit, please come. They repeated it 3 times. Then silence. At first, nothing happened. The boys started laughing. This is stupid, one of them said. But then the dish moved. Just a little. A slight tremble. Everyone froze. Who's pushing it? One of the girls whispered. I'm not, May said. I swear. The dish moved again. This time, it slid smoothly across the paper. It stopped at the character yes. The room went cold, not metaphorically. The air conditioning wasn't even on, but everyone could see their breath. Is someone here with us? May asked. The dish moved to yes again. One of the boys, trying to be brave, asked, Are you a good spirit or a bad spirit? The dish didn't move to either answer. Instead, it began spinning, slowly at first, then faster and faster, until it was moving so fast that their fingers couldn't keep up. The dish flew off the paper and smashed against the wall, shattering into pieces. Everyone screamed. The candles went out, and in the darkness, they heard it. A voice, female, old, raspy, speaking in Taiwanese Hokkien, a dialect that none of them spoke fluently. Why did you call me? Aren't you going to send me away? The lights flickered back on. Everyone was pale, shaking, May was crying. "We have to close the ritual," she said. "We have to say goodbye properly, or she won't leave." But they didn't know how. They had never learned the closing ritual. They thought you just stopped playing. They tried to improvise. They held hands. They said, "Thank you for coming. Please go back. Goodbye. Goodbye." But the room stayed cold. The air stayed heavy. That night, none of them could sleep. Every time they closed their eyes, they felt something watching them. One of the boys said he saw a shadow standing in the corner of the room, a figure of an old woman. She was smiling, but her eyes were black. The next morning, they checked out early. They didn't talk about it. They just wanted to go home. But the spirit followed them. Over the next 6 months, all 6 students experienced the same thing: sleep paralysis every single night. They would wake up unable to move, unable to scream, and they would see her, the old woman, standing at the foot of their bed, getting closer, night after night. May had it the worst. She started hearing the voice during the day, in class, on the bus, whispering in Hokkien, "Send me away, send me away." She stopped going to school. She stopped eating. Her parents took her to doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists. They said it was trauma, anxiety, psychosis. They gave her medication. It didn't help. Finally, her grandmother, a traditional woman from the countryside, stepped in. She took one look at May and said, "You've been possessed." The grandmother took May to a temple, not a tourist temple, a real temple, deep in the mountains, the kind where the priests still perform exorcisms. The Taoist priest looked at May and immediately started the ritual. He didn't ask questions. He didn't need to. He burned talismans. He chanted scriptures. He struck a wooden fish drum for 3 hours straight. At the end of the ritual, the priest told May's grandmother, "She invited something she couldn't control. I've severed the connection, but she must never play these games again, and she must never speak of what she saw. If she does, it will come back." May is alive today. She's 24 now, but she doesn't talk to the other 5 students anymore. She can't, because every time she sees them, she feels the cold air again. She hears the voice. The other 5 students also sought help. 2 of them went to churches. One became a Buddhist monk. Another moved to Australia, trying to run from the memories. But no matter how far they went, they all reported the same thing. On certain nights, especially during the 7th lunar month, the Hungry Ghost Festival, they still feel her presence. They still wake up with the sensation of cold fingers touching their faces. One of the boys from that group gave an anonymous interview to a Taiwanese paranormal podcast in 2020. He said something that stayed with me. He said, "We thought we were calling a spirit, but what we really did was open a wound in the air. And now that wound won't close. It's still bleeding, and we're the ones who have to live with it." Our second story takes place in Hong Kong, in a secondary school in Kowloon. It was 2019. A group of Form 4 students, about 15 years old, were bored during their lunch break. One of them had heard about Butsin, pen spirit. He said his older brother had played it, and nothing happened. He wanted to try it. They gathered in an empty classroom on the 4th floor. 6 students. They locked the door so teachers wouldn't come in. They took a ballpoint pen and a blank piece of paper. 2 students held the pen together. The others watched. They said the words, pen spirit, please come." Nothing happened at first. Then the pen started moving. Slowly, shakily. It drew a circle. Then another. Then it started writing. Chinese characters, but they were messy, like a child's handwriting. "Who are you?" The students looked at each other, excited. It was working. "We are students," one of them answered out loud. The pen wrote back, "Me too." "What's your name?" The pen wrote, "Xiaoming," a common name, a boy's name. "How old are you?" The pen hesitated. Then it wrote, "I was 10 years old when I died." The room went silent. One of the girls felt sick. "Let's stop," she said. But the boys didn't listen. They asked, "How did you die?" The pen moved violently. It scratched across the paper, tearing it. It wrote over and over, "Jump, jump, jump." Then it stopped. One of the boys holding the pen, let's call him Y, suddenly stood up. His eyes were blank. His face was expressionless. He walked toward the window. The classroom was on the 4th floor. The window was open. His friends realized what was happening. They screamed. They grabbed him. They pulled him back. But Y was strong. Unnaturally strong. He fought them. He kept saying in a flat, childlike voice, "I want to jump. Let me jump." It took 4 of them to hold him down. One of the girls ran to get a teacher. When the teacher arrived, Y suddenly collapsed. He was unconscious. He was taken to the hospital. The doctors couldn't find anything wrong with him. No drugs, no medical condition. But when he woke up, he didn't remember anything. Not the game, not the window, nothing. But the story doesn't end there. Over the next 3 weeks, 3 more students in that classroom tried to jump from high places. One tried to jump from the school roof. Another tried to jump in front of the MTR train. The third tried to jump from his apartment balcony. All of them were stopped. All of them said the same thing. I heard a voice, a child's voice. He said, "Jump with me. It doesn't hurt." The school was terrified. Parents were furious. The principal brought in a feng shui master to cleanse the classroom. They found out that 10 years earlier, a 10-year-old boy had died in that school. He had jumped from the roof during recess. His name was Xiao Ming. According to the school records, Xiao Ming had been bullied severely every day for months. He told his teachers, he told his parents, but nothing changed. One afternoon, during lunch break, he climbed to the roof. He stood at the edge, and he jumped. The school paid compensation to the family. They increased their anti-bullying programs. They installed higher railings on the roof, but they never addressed the spiritual side. They never performed any rituals. They never acknowledged that a child had died in pain, in anger, in loneliness. And in Chinese belief, that kind of death creates a vengeful spirit, a spirit that doesn't move on, a spirit that lingers. The classroom was sealed. It's still sealed today. If you go to that school, you'll see it. 4th floor, room 4B. The door is locked. The windows are covered. And on the door, there's a yellow talisman with red writing. The students involved in the Butsin ritual were required to attend counseling. Some of them transferred schools. One of them, the girl who suggested they stop, still has nightmares. She says she sees a little boy standing outside her window at night. He's holding a pen, and he's smiling. Why? The boy who almost jumped left Hong Kong entirely. His family moved to Canada, but even there, he reports strange occurrences. Pens moving on their own, finding drawings of stick figures jumping off buildings, hearing children's laughter when no children are around. Here's what you need to understand. Dip-sin and butt-sin are not games. They are rituals. And rituals have power. Whether you believe in spirits or not, whether you think it's all psychological or supernatural, the outcome is the same. People get hurt, lives get destroyed, and once you open that door, you can't just close it by saying game over. In Chinese culture, we have rules for these things. If you're going to invite a spirit, you must know how to send it away. You must have a Taoist priest present. You must prepare offerings. You must follow the closing ritual exactly. You must burn joss paper. You must recite specific prayers. You must bow 3 times and ask the spirit to return to where it came from. But teenagers don't know these rules. They think it's just a game. They see it on social media. They see their friends do it. They think nothing will happen. And by the time they realize it's not a game, it's too late. There are documented cases across Asia, not just Taiwan and Hong Kong, in Singapore, in Malaysia, in mainland China, in Korea, in Japan. Different countries, different names for the games, but the same pattern. Students play. Something goes wrong. Lives are changed forever. In 2015, 3 students in Singapore played a similar game. One of them ended up in a psychiatric ward for 6 months. In 2018, a group in Kuala Lumpur played Dip Sin. 2 of them got into a car accident the next day. The driver said he saw a face in the rearview mirror and lost control. These aren't coincidences. These aren't just scary stories. These are patterns, and patterns mean something. If you're watching this video and you've ever played Dip Sin, Butt Sin, or any spirit-inviting game, listen carefully. If you didn't close the ritual properly, if you didn't say the correct goodbye, there is a chance that something followed you home. If you've been experiencing nightmares, sleep paralysis, voices, or the feeling of being watched, you need to go to a temple, a real temple, and you need to ask for help. Don't be embarrassed. Don't think you're crazy. In Asia, this is taken seriously. Priests and monks deal with this all the time. They will not judge you. They will help you. And if you've never played these games, don't start. No matter how curious you are, no matter how bored you are, no matter how much your friends pressure you, it's not worth it, because the spirit world doesn't play fair. And once you invite them in, they don't leave just because you ask nicely. They don't care about your homework. They don't care about your exams. They don't care about your future. They are trapped, angry, and lonely, and they want company. The scariest part, these games are becoming popular again. With the rise of social media, teens are filming themselves playing Dip Sin and Butt Sin for views, for likes, for followers. They think it's entertainment. They think it's content. But what happens when the camera stops recording? What happens when they turn off the lights and go to bed? What happens when they're alone? That's when the real horror begins. These 2 stories are based on documented incidents. The Taipei Hotel incident was reported in Taiwanese news in 2017. The Hong Kong school incident was covered by local media in 2019, though the school's name was not disclosed to protect the students. If you want to hear more true stories from the dark corners of Asia, subscribe to this channel. We post new videos daily, real stories, real warnings, real consequences, and let me know in the comments. Have you ever played Dip Sin or Butt Sin? What happened? Did you close the ritual properly? Are you still experiencing things? I want to hear your stories, but I also want you to be careful, because sometimes talking about it brings it back. Sometimes remembering opens the door again. So if you're going to share your story, Make sure you're in a safe place. Make sure there are people around you. Make sure the lights are on. Stay safe. Lock your doors. Say your prayers. And remember, it's easy to invite spirits, but it's hard to send them away. Sleep well tonight, if you can.